Alright guys, today's video I'm going to take you through some stuff I got at the Long Island Tool Swap Meet this past Thursday, where I met with Scoutcrafter and a bunch of other really cool tool dudes. So I'll take you through some of this unique stuff. There's some really cool stuff in there. I ended up selling stuff for the first time. That's some stuff I took out of the box that I ended up bringing home with me today. But I ended up bringing stuff that I sold. I sold some wrenches. I sold some ratcheting wrenches, some gear wrench stuff. I sold an old tap and die set, drill bits, and a bunch of other stuff. I have no idea how much money I made that day because I was buying stuff as I was purchasing stuff. Yeah, I brought the old grinder with me and a bunch of other stuff. It did not sell a few things, so I ended up bringing it back. But it was a great time, a great experience, and I'll show you what I got here today. But the one thing I also did there that was just so awesome is I got some advice from Scoutcrafter. I brought this with me, and I really love this pair of needle nose pliers. And what this is a West Germany pair of needle nose, but it has an issue. You see this? Because the rivet is just off there. So I asked Scoutcrafter how to fix that, and of course it involves using my dake, so I will take you through that as well. So let's jump into this video. Next item up are some really sweet V-blocks, and you know, I was silly on this. Both of these had pairs to them, and me not knowing a lot about, you know, the functions and using V-blocks, I should have bought two. I should have bought the pair. He wanted only $40 for the pair. The pair now came with another V-block, but it didn't have the clamp on it, so I paid him $20 for this one with the clamp, and this is just so well made. Made in Poland. Look at that. It's got this in here so you could clamp it down when not in use. You know, this is for using on the drill press when you're drilling out those round objects. If I had another one, though, which I'm just so silly, I should have bought it, kicking myself, as if you did something really long, you could have the support of clamping one and then having the other one to hold that weight on it. But $20 for this is just an absolute home run type deal, made in Europe, and the quality of this is phenomenal. And then, so then I got a smaller one, which is really the one I'll probably use more times than not. And same thing, this he wanted $30 for the pair, and I paid him, I think, $15 for this one. Same scenario, it didn't had another one with it without the clamp, and just being silly, I didn't buy it. Didn't realize this till I got it home. Look at this. That is a Starrett. So God knows what this goes for if I had it is a pair, but even individual like this has got to be a pretty expensive V-block, and this will really come in handy when using smaller type of round stock drilling into on the drill press. All right, next items up I got from Kent. Kent is just a super good, cool tool guy. I've been conversing with him on email for like a year now. Never met him in person till today. And just a really great tool enthusiast. Always comes across stuff. Always putting me on stuff when he sees it on different auction sites and whatnot. So I wanted to thank him for that. He brought me a couple of these screwdrivers that I think are just fantastic, and so generous to just give these to me. Really nice tip on this number 2. This is an Armstrong, and it's just got a great handle on it. So I'm really grateful for that, as well as these two. Vermont American. I never had screwdrivers made by them. Maybe they were rebranded for them, but I think they're great as well. Really nice tips on stubby, and this one is probably was made to be more of a punch-all type thing, but those will come in handy, and I'm going to be putting those right up there as I'm getting this tool bench kind of to have some stuff that'll be right at the ready when I need it. And then the next item I got from him I paid $5 for, and this is an old socket set, or at least that's what I thought it was, and it kind of is. It's a really heavy-duty case. I mean heavy-duty. This has got some age to it. And when I opened it up, I was like, oh man, it's got this acetate spinner in it that looks all corroded, and some other rusted up corroded stuff. But hey, I really want this case. But when I got it home, look what I found out. How cool is this? This spinner is actually aluminum. I hit it on the wheel real quick, the wire wheel, and look how that's going to clean up. The slightest bend whatsoever in it, that I can easily fix on the dake. The Stevens Walden spinner. I mean, I just think that is the coolest spinner I own. I love spinners. I have a spinner collection. Looking forward to cleaning that up. Same thing with this little breaker bar here. It looked all beat up, but then when I got it home and got it cleaned up with the knurling and everything else, this is going to clean up fantastic. So that was a $5 score, and I really was getting it for the tin, but found out I got a wonderful, wonderful spinner in there. Our last thing from Kent is this Eagle oil can, and this one was just so straight. Probably didn't need it, but I had to have it when I saw it, and I was selling some stuff too, so I was feeling good. I wasn't, I had some money in my pocket, and for 20 bucks, this to me was a home run because it was just so straight. I mean, straight as an arrow. These clean up wonderful. It doesn't say Oiler 66 on it though. I was surprised about that. It says patent applied for, so I'm almost wondering if this was the one that was before the 66. It is slightly different size than the 66 I have, which has a dented up cap. That's why when I saw this one, I had to have it. And these just look great. When you got these polished up and they're on your bench, they just look like, I don't know, something like a beacon of bronze. All right, and last items here. I did some shopping in the dollar bin, and all these items here I paid $1 for. Had to have these bow ties. They're Chevy bow ties for $1. I mean, these are just great wall hangers to add on different things. I really like this one with the super cool reflector in it. It could actually be useful as well. And this one has the pins on it. This one looks like it may have been broken. But just, I used to always, when I was a kid, be in the scrap yards and in the junk yards. And I would be breaking off these of cars and taking them out of the junkyard. With was bow ties, the caddy hood ornaments. I always had a nice collection of them. And for $1, I just had to have those. This here, this punch, or it's actually a chisel. And this is probably for splitting brick. This is about probably 3 inches. And when I saw it, I was like, for $1, it just looks so great. The tip on it, very rarely used. It's got some surface rust on it just because it's, that hardened steel. If you see that there, made in the USA, not even hit on. Very, very lightly used. $1. This would also make a really cool hammer. If you thought, if I sanded that around and make a nice head on it, and then it would have the hatchet back on it, drill a hole in there. If I could get the right handle, or maybe machine a handle for that on the lathe, that would be a great project. And then this here, this might have been, from a score standpoint, another really good value. So I picked this up, I threw it in my box of stuff that I was taking with me, and I had no idea. I just said it was $1. It looked cool. It was dark and I couldn't tell what it was. And Kent came over to me and he said, Tom, those pruners you got are Japanese. And at first I was like, Japanese? Well, they're not made in the U.S.? I'm still old school, I guess, from the mindset. When I was growing up, you had something Japanese, it was junk. In the shop, if you had Japanese tools, it was like, oh, those are the crappy stuff. You want to get the American stuff. Nowadays, obviously, I buy Japanese tools quite a bit. My vessel screwdrivers I would put up against anything, but it still doesn't resonate with me that Japanese means quality, and apparently these are like really good quality. I have to do some homework on them, but I got these for $1, and I did hit them on the Y wheel just real quick to see the marks on it and on the branding on it, and I can't make that out because I don't read Japanese, but look at that. It does say made in Japan. It's got all sorts of stampings on it, and they work absolutely fantastic. I actually took something off my lemon tree here just to see, and look at that. I mean, I didn't even do anything to these, and they work like a dream. The back, look how nice this is. It just got it. It's all spring loaded back there. So I'll have to do a little bit of homework on this, but he said for $1, I got a score on these, that these go for pretty good money on eBay. All right, last thing we need to do today is fix this nice ornate pair of needle nose pliers made in Germany. So let's get to it. All right, so if you look at these pliers, the play seems to be coming from this top rivet. There's a top rivet and a bottom rivet, and when I wiggle it, really seems to be on that top rivet. So I need to get some pressure on that, mushroom that out a little bit, and hopefully take that play out and sync those up. So what John had suggested to me, he said get a nut, get a small little nut. This is the smallest one I had, and it still was slightly big, so I grinded it down a little bit, as you can see there. And then he said put it right dead center and bring the dake down on top of that. And he said put a little bit of Scotch tape around it to hold it in place, and that way it'll also keep it from kind of kicking out. But what I'm going to do before I put the Scotch tape is just put a dab of super glue and let that set, so that nut is exactly where I need it to be, because I just don't have a lot of room of play, as that circle is almost, you know, this nut is just slightly smaller. So let me do that and get it on the dake. All right, I think that did the trick, but I won't know for sure until I get this tape out of the way, as well as get this nut off. Oh wow, I didn't have to break it off. The glue broke, so that's good. And let's, oh, they're tight. They are tight. They're almost too tight, which is phenomenal. They'll work in like a dream. Look at that, zero play. All right, Scoutcrafter, great tip and trick. Now let's get these cleaned up and put them back in service. 3,000 pounds of pressure, and I'll tell you, it didn't really mushroom out the nut at all, which is great. Slight little bit of indentation here, but I'll clean that up with the fiber wheel or the belt sander, and these will be they're just gonna look great. And here they are complete. I laid a little bit of blue paint in there. I just thought with this satin finish, the blue was a great complement to it, and it came out fantastic. As you can see, a little bit of the West Germany still prevails in there, but I had to get in there. I made the decision to go down below the nicks, took all the rough edges off. It had a lot of casting marks, or forge marks I should say, in the handles. Got that buttery smooth with oil. The teeth on it are still in great condition. Unfortunately, the cutters on it aren't the greatest. As you can see, there's a little bit of daylight in there. It will do the trick if it, you know, you got to cut something, it'll pull it off like that. Not really what I plan on using this for is cutters, but they'll work in a pinch. Really wanted to use it just for a nice in the hand feel, needle nose pliers. And Scoutcrafter's tips and tricks did the trick, and can't be happy enough in the way these came out. So let's wrap this video up. So I had an absolute great time at the tool swap meet. Got some great tips from Scoutcrafter on how to complete that pliers. I got some great stuff. I got to try out Scoutcrafter's golf ball screwdrivers. He brought several of them with him. The one that just fit me best is this one here. It was black and it had the knurling on it, which I absolutely love, and it was a little bit longer shaft that just felt great in my hand and fit my big mitts well. All right, everyone, if you haven't hit that like and subscribe yet, please do so now. And as usual, if you know about these items, please share your comments in the comment section. If you know about these awesome V-blocks, if you know about that block punch, if you know about the Eagle oil can that's very different than the 66 that's back there. Well, it's similar, but a little different. Or any of the things we discussed today, please share your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.